it was absolutely wonderful. I think it broke down some of the things I do naturally, and I think it was really kind of cool.
I enjoyed it very much. It was very sufficient. It was detailed really more on the sales force, aside from what we do. It brought us a different concept.
I really enjoyed it. I thought that many of the things that were spoken about were things I have already known in theory, but it helped me look at things in a very different way.
I feel remotivated. A lot of the information was told through personal story, and that's the best way for me to understand concepts. And I feel that I learned some new techniques to help me build better relationships in the field.
He made points that have to be utilized every single day, regardless of the sales environment that you're in. And you have to keep a strong checklist of utilizing these things each day. And more important than that, you have to continue with follow-up to see where you're progressing and where you need more help in. And as long as you stay more focused with that, I think it's a great ladder and a great checklist to use.
I think it was a great presentation. I think the relational GPS that Ed spoke about was big in what I do every day in building relationships.
Well, I think there were many points that were brought up that I can apply to my current job, and I think just listening to some of those points and seeing how I can get to the heart of my students' motivations with coming to school just will help me in the long run.
I really liked it. It was completely not what I expected. I expected it to be like just another training seminar, someone would be talking, I'd be like, alright, when's it going to be over? But it was really insightful, and it definitely gave me some ideas to use in my future projects.
You know, I really like the ladder concept, and I really want to work on getting my relationships to a higher step. But one of the things is writing down on the cards. I wrote some things that I need to do, so I'm going to work on my card first.
I'm going to get back to my business contacts and then start using the GPS and then go back into the strategy to build that relationship. This is people that I've dealt with for 6 months, and actually I should get back into contact with.
The first thing I'm going to do is start making unsolicited phone calls to some of the high school personnel, the guidance counselors that I know very well, and I'm going to reach out and just offer help. And these are people I already have relationships with. During the seminar, the ladder was referred to many times, and getting to that top rung of the ladder is the most difficult to get to, and I'd like to get there.
I am going to focus less on my numbers as far as my goals, my numbers that have been set, and more on the relationships that I've built along the way. And I am going to set some very strong relationship building goals for myself for September.
Probably remember before I walk into any building or meet with anyone to make sure I have my checklist, and to improve my referrals, improve my follow-up, the thank you cards, the handwritten things. Make sure that I stay on top of the small follow-up steps, because in sales, a lot of people tend to think that the sales is done and then you're finished, but not the follow-up, and that's what you need to keep the sales going.
I'm going to sit down and evaluate the card that we were given. I'm going to talk to my 3 people, try and set up a meeting with them so I can get to know more of their strengths, their pains, and what their goals are.
I think actually the GPS hits home for me, just because I think that's crucial with us making the student think a little bit differently about their education and making a final decision. And if we don't understand where they're coming from and what they're trying to do, then we can't help them.
I'm going to definitely take a step back, like I said, and I'm going to apply everything I learned to the interviewing I do with my students. I know a lot of times I seem to rush through my conversation. I definitely want to apply each and every term I learn to improve my interviews.